Okay, I'm getting huge, huge love being sent to me. Somebody recommended that if I'm getting negative energy from YouTube, I should just block and delete. Frankly, the most positive energy that I'm getting is coming from YouTube. There's no negative energy I'm getting from YouTube. Well, one person, but one out of how many is such a small percentage compared to how many positive things are coming towards me. So no, it's a negative energy that's in the air. It's like I feel it from out there as a huge pressure. I'm hypersensitive. If anybody's watched my videos, I'm hypersensitive, so I can sense a negative energy in the air where other people won't see it. I sense this negative energy. And what I've come to learn about negative energy is it's actually very positive. Um, hard thing to wrap your brain around, but everything that appears really negative means that there's a shift in the air, and that shift is uncomfortable. And that uncomfortable feeling doesn't feel too good. But that just means you're in a shift. That means you're changing something that you're comfortable with. And it's always good. Every time I see a negative event, if I don't get caught up in the negativity of it, if I just sit back and try to understand what is it? What does it want? It speaks to me, and I find out more information about it, and it sort of shows me what is required. So to me, it's while it feels extremely negative, the only thing that I know for sure is there's going to be something really positive about to happen. So it is just sit back and try and ask it what it wants of you, and it will answer. Now, this one video that I'm trying to make today, right now, is a comment that somebody made this observation that I'm um, trying to find answers on my own. And as long as we're all trying to find answers on our own, we'll always be lost. And um, that God should be your guide. And but usually when people make those assumptions, make those judgments, and also try to influence me to find the answers about my world through a Bible and not through God, they really aren't finding their answers through God. They're finding their answers through a book that was written by a man and a man that wanted to control you. So that's kind of why I'm objecting to a Bible, because I get my lessons from God directly. And um, I'm not doing this on my own. I'm finding my answers through my connection with God. But it's almost like religious people don't want you to have that connection with God. It's almost like religious people that believe in a Bible say, don't ever listen to that God that speaks to you. And I don't really understand that message, because they're always saying get a connection with God, but don't listen to that connection with God. So let me explain my experiences with God, if I can do it in a very short period of time. I was beaten when I was really young, and that is when I started having a connection with God. Now, a lot of religious people will say, oh, as soon as you get this connection with God while you're experiencing severe abuse, those are wrong messages. You're actually listening to Satan. And it's like, maybe check yourself on that one. Because the God that I connected with, um, when I was a child, I asked God, why is this happening? And God showed me. And He showed me, you're being beaten because of religion. You're being beaten because of a Bible. You're being beaten because your parents do not know what it is that they're doing. They were beaten, they were abused, and they're doing what they know. They're not doing, um, how can I say it? They don't know what they're doing. It was more of God was showing me the reasoning why, which I could perfectly understand if I was in my parents' shoes. And listening to doctors, who doctors were definitely telling them, beat the crap out of your daughter until she conforms, which somehow will heal a medical problem. Bibles were saying, spoil the rod, or spare the rod, spoil the child. And my parents were definitely saying, if you think you had it bad, you should see how bad we had it. We are doing this out of love. And yet beating somebody is, didn't provide any lessons. It didn't beat the crap out of a medical condition. So God then showed me at 3 years old to forgive and forget and try and understand where people are coming from. So all the way along the lines, I had this God experience. I have really, really thick glasses, and one day my eyesight just completely left. Nobody understood it. Everybody was trying to say I was lying, but I couldn't see a damn thing. I went like legally blind overnight without glasses. So it took about a month before people actually believed me, and finally got glasses. But then I had years and years of torment because the glasses were like an inch thick and kids at school were really cruel. So I begged and begged and begged God for contact lenses at a time where that was impossible. And I had made a promise to God that I would, live His path. I would be the best person that I could possibly be, which here I am today doing what I think is God inspired path. Um, so the next day, to my surprise, I ended up getting contact lenses, which was completely against policy. You weren't allowed in those days to give contact lenses to somebody that was 12 years old. But the doctor said that my eyes would stop growing worse if I had contact lenses, and it would be cheaper for my mother, who would never buy anything that was extra. But she was convinced by a medical world that buying contacts was the way to go and it would be cheaper, so it was better on her budget, and voila, a miracle from God came. Um, then there was another experience. I had this airbrush broke, and right after I had done this amazing painting of a polar bear and a wolf. I don't know the meaning behind those, but for some reason there's probably a meaning behind those animals that I was painting, but it was like I never ever see anything good in what I do. I'm my worst critic, but for some reason I was like, holy shit, I did that. That was amazing. And then the tools are gone, and just out of my mouth, out of my control, the words came. God wouldn't show me that I had that talent and then just take the tools away. God's mailing me an airbrush. And there was like zero doubt. Zero doubt. I knew God was sending me an airbrush. Within 2 weeks, an airbrush came. There was another time, many God experiences that I would just, before I'd go to bed, I'd say, okay, God, you need to give me an answer. And as soon as I wake up, the answer popped into my head. One particular time, while I was going through hell, I thought that there was 2 different directions to take, but I didn't know which one was the right one. So the night before, I'm asking God, hey, what direction should I be taking? And the next day I wake up, I had to be talking to lawyers, and this friggin' a lawyer doesn't talk this way. But I was trying to get this lawyer to help me, and the lawyer saying, no, I can't help you. And I was desperate, and I thought the guy hung up on me because I heard a click and he didn't talk anymore. So I hung up, and he phones me right back and started saying, "Have you ever?" And then he stopped. And I think that God speaks in words that we are hesitant to say. So I really pressured him and pressured him. No, you got to tell me what you were about to say. And he asked me if I ever read this book, Conversations with God, which I did, which explains that God works through people, which I really understand and I really believe to be true. And so I agreed that I had, read the book, and I kind of knew, okay, he was about to tell me something that was coming from God. And his next words were, he said, you're supposed to take everything that was done to you and do something with it. Instantly, I was in total shock, because the night before I'm asking God, you got to tell me what to do. And the next day, a lawyer saying, God wants me to talk to you and this is what you're supposed to do. And right away I knew, okay, I right then was not do something about it, take everything and do something about it. It wasn't done yet. It wasn't complete. Take everything that was done to you. While everything was still being done to me, nothing had been stopped yet. So I knew that when this hell that I was living through would stop, then and only then I was supposed to do something with it. So that's what I'm doing now with this channel, is I'm doing something with everything that was done to me. And it did, when everything was at its end, when I totally broke down, gave in, stopped fighting, went with everything, went with the system. I got bombarded with this, like, all-knowing. I could see everything that was going on. I had an understanding for everything. I understood why everybody was doing everything they were doing. I could see that if I was walking in everybody's shoes, I'd be doing the exact same thing. It was such a friggin' clear picture, so much understanding. And then I knew that it's like, okay, what do you do with this? Like when you get bombarded with so much information in a non-linear, it wasn't one after another, it was all at once coming at me from every direction, from outside, inside. You can't even describe how to receive this information. It's just, you don't have the words to comprehend or describe that to anybody. But it was like, okay, if the whole world actually seen what I seen, man, would we make a massive shift. But it's like, where do you begin? How do you begin explaining this? That if I had to explain it one word after another, it would take thousands and thousands of years. And as soon as I open my mouth and say 3 words, that's when you would not get it, because you would make an assumption off those 3 words without hearing the 1,000 years worth of text, worth of explanations. You would misunderstand everything I was going to say. So it was like, oh my God. So then I asked the universe, we speak in math, we speak in science, so voila, all of a sudden, holodynamics came into my world, my realm. It explained everything in scientific terms, the language that we speak in. So I trying to introduce that concept too, because it kind of does. It's perfect. It gives you an explanation, an understanding of why every single system is not functioning. It offers a solution to how you actually can fix all systems. It claims to be a tool that can solve every problem known to the human experience, and it's perfect, other than it cannot tell you the unknown problem, which is everything you complain and make excuses for. As soon as you make a complaint or an excuse, use this tool and you'll solve every problem. And if everybody on the planet actually looked at it from that perspective, we'd have, world peace. Every one of us would solve our own individual problems instead of waiting for somebody else to solve it for us. But it seems like it's really, really challenging even to introduce that. It's almost like we don't want to hear the answers. So there, I really truly believe those are messages from God. I listen strictly to God. This concept actually, confirms everything that I see, confirms there is a God. So there's the explanation. I don't believe in Bibles, I believe in God. Peace out.